favorite problems. It says the sum of three consecutive integers of consecutive even integers is 72. What are the three consecutive integers? Okay, the most difficult part here is coming up with the equation. Okay, so we know that since we have the word is, our equation is going to equal 72. Okay, on this left side though, this left side is the sum of three consecutive even integers. So what you got to ask yourself is, what does the word sum mean? Sum is the answer to an addition problem. The word consecutive means in a row, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, April, May, June. Consecutive is things that are in order. Then even integers. An integer, if you remember, is all whole numbers. They're positive and negative versions, though. So all whole numbers and their opposites. And then even is anything that's divisible by 2. So some examples of even integers would be 2, 4, 6, 6, 8, 10. All right, we need to know what is the sum of three consecutive ones. That is 72. Then we will know what are those three consecutive integers. All right, so what you need to really know is, how are we going to get this? So on our left side, it's going to be the first number, second number, and the third number. Okay, I'm going to erase this real quick. 72, I'm going to move it over. All right, so what I like to do with problems like this is think of a real world example, or think of something we already have. So we don't know what the first number is going to be. So when you don't know something, you put x. Okay. Now let's think. Let's think of the example 2, 4, 6. If 2 is x, what's the difference, or how are we going to go from the number 2 to the number 4? Well, we're going to start at x. The difference between 2 and 4 is just a plus 2. So it's x plus 2. Then this is our second number. Okay. If x is 2, we add 2 to it, that gives us 4. So no matter what your first even integer is, that's just x. Then the next even integer is 2 away, since every other number is even, like 2, 4, 6, 6, 8, 10, 10, 12, 14. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. Now we just got to get our third consecutive integer. So when we think about that, how do we go from 2 to 6? Again, we're going to be starting at x, since that's our first integer, and we can only have one variable for this problem. But to go from 2 to 6, you're going to add 4. So it's going to be x plus 4. So our nice little equation for this problem is x plus 2 plus x plus 4 equals 72. And this is your equation. This is the hardest part. A lot of kids get tricked with it. I'm not sure why, but if you break it down to a real example with real numbers, it helps us make it easier with variables. Because no matter what the three consecutive integers are, it's always going to be x, x plus 2, x plus 4. Same thing here. 6 to 8 is plus 2, 6 to 10 is plus 4. So hopefully you understand that part. Now solving this is going to be a little different. It's a little more complicated. But again, it's actually pretty simple when we break it down. Oops. Let's take this whole thing and bring it down. Alright, so we'll bring it down there. We'll work with it down here. Alright, so if you remember, we go back to our steps to solving an equation. The first step is you want to simplify both sides. The right side simplified since we can't change 72, but we want to change the left side, so we have to get rid of our parentheses here. Well, outside the parentheses, we actually have plus 1s. When you have a number outside of parentheses, you distribute. Okay, so it's going to become x plus 2 plus x plus 4 is equal to 72. All right, now next we have to combine like terms. We have an x, an x, and an x, which gives us 3x. 2 plus 4 gives us 6, which is equal to 72. So now that's the first step. We simplify both sides of our equation. The next step of solving equations is get everything with an x variable to one side, everything without an x to the right side. So we have 3x here. We want to keep that. So we want to move the 6. Subtract 6 from both sides. Now we're left with 3x is equal to 66. Divide both sides by 3, since division and multiplication are the inverses. And we get x is equal to 22. Now again, it's a word problem. Make sure you read the directions and see what you're asked for. This word problem, we want to know what are the three consecutive integers. So we go down and we know that our answer is 22. That's what x equals, okay? If you go back to the beginning, we said that x was our first integer. That was even. So, again, our first integer is 22. The next even one is 24. The next even one is 26. So our answer would be 22 plus 24 plus 26. And if you add those up, your answer is 72, which again is what we wanted to get in the first place. So your correct answer here would be 22, 24, 26. If you tell me x is equal to 22, you are right that x does equal that, but that's not what the question's asking. The question asks what are the three consecutive integers, so make sure you say 22, 24, 26. That's the hardest thing when it comes to word problems is what is your answer asking, or how do you want to answer your question? You can't just tell me x equals something if I'm asking you a different question. Last but not least, this is the last word problem, and we're talking about Wet Willie's Pool Company. All right, and they offer a pool closing service that has a standard fee of $65 plus $15 for every hour it takes to close your pool. Then we have Johnny's Pool Service, who charges you a $20 fee, but then $20 per hour it takes to close the pool. Okay, we want to know how many hours will it take for both services to be the same cost. So again, make sure you take stuff out of your word problem that we're going to want to know. So we want to know that Wet Willie's has a standard closing fee of $65 plus $15 per hour. Then Johnny's Pool does a standard fee of $20 plus $20 per hour. Right? So Wet Willie's, $65 fee, and then $15 per hour. And then Johnny's is a $20 fee plus $20 per hour. All right, so that's all the information we need to solve this problem. Now again, if you read the question, it says, how many hours would it take for both services to cost the same? So we're going to put an equal sign in the middle, since we know that we want to find out their equality when they're equal. But you already know that the 15 is going to be attached to our variable x, where x is number of hours, because that's what our question's asking us. How many hours will it take for this service to cost the same? So we know we're going to be finding a variable x, which relates to hours. Since it's $15 per hour, it's 15x plus 65. And this right side for Johnny's is 20x plus 20. Again, one of the easiest ways to also find out what your variable number is going to be is, see the word per? That means a rate, okay? And when we talk about graphing equations later on, a rate is very closely directed to our slope. And whenever you talk about equations in slope-intercept form, the coefficient of your x is your slope. So if you know what slope is, which you all do, you can think of this as your slope. For every hour, it goes up $15, okay? So that's our number being attached to our variable x. Again, if that's kind of confusing, in later videos when we get to further stuff, we'll explain it more. But that's one way you can think about it to maybe make it easier. So we have 15x equals plus 65 equals 20x plus 20. Again, first rule, simplify left side, can't do it. Simplify right side, can't do it. We want to get all of our x variables to one side, everything's out of x to the other. So we have 15x here, and we got to get it to the right, so we're going to subtract it, since addition, subtraction are inverses. We get 65 is equal to 5x plus 20. Again, we need to get this 5x alone, so we must subtract 20 from both sides. And we get 55 equals 5x. Divide both sides by 5. Divide by 5. 11 is equal to x. Again, this is a word problem, so we have to find out what is it asking us. We want to find out how many hours it would take for both pool services to cost the same. So x equals 11, but your correct answer is 11 hours. Okay? So that's how long it's going to take for both pool services to be the same. That's your answer, 11 hours. Hopefully it's not too tricky. Again, the hardest part with all these word problems is actually trying to figure out what is your equation. Okay? Once you find out your equation, it's just easy algebra. It's easy solving. Hopefully you guys like word problems a little better. The SATs uses them a lot. The PARCC uses them a lot. So we'll be doing them a lot. And the best thing to do with things that you're not good at is to practice. So if you have any questions, you can email me, find me in a room, ask me in class. Make sure you're taking good notes of these videos. I hope they're helpful. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, just make sure you always ask about them.